In 1971, Stanley Kubrick directed one of the most, if not the most, controversial movie of all time. Let's get into it.
Feeling I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm red.
Hi, my name is Scott and I talk movies. Today we're talking about the controversial Stanley Kubrick masterpiece of 1971. I'm of course talking about A Clockwork Orange. A Clockwork Orange is one of my favorite movies and is known as one of the best movies of all time. This movie takes place in dystopian England in the future and follows gang leader named Alex, played by Malcolm McDowell. Alex leads a gang called the Droogs, where every night they go to a milk bar and get ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence as they commit terrible and violent crimes.
Sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence.
Eventually, Alex gets caught and gets taken to prison, but later ends up volunteering for a government mind control experiment which is supposed to cure people from violence. He does this by watching very violent videos while being drugged. When Alex returns, non-violent, he becomes a victim of his previous victims. Something else interesting is that Alex is obsessed with Beethoven, and during the experiment, while he's watching all the violent videos, they play Beethoven in the background, so that ruins Beethoven for him. So, like, he can't listen to Beethoven the same anymore.
You are now a murderer, little Alex. A murderer.
Not true, sir. It was only a slight told shock. She was breathing, I swear it.
So Clockwork Orange was written, produced, and directed by Stanley Kubrick and was based off the book A Clockwork Orange by British author Anthony Burgess. As you can see, I have a copy of the book right here, and I haven't read it. So it's well known that Stanley Kubrick only makes movies based off books, and we should actually thank Stanley Kubrick's wife for this movie, because when he was going through a bunch of books deciding what movie he wanted to make next, when he picked up this book, when he read it, didn't like it because he thought that the mixture of English and Russian slang was too much for him.
Brother, you think and talk sometimes like a little child.
A little child, yeah.
Tonight we pull a man-sized crap.
So he threw it away, but then his wife found it, gave it back to him and said, I think you can make something good out of all this. And he made this movie, which is one of the best movies of all time. Something interesting about this movie is the use of Singin' in the Rain by Gene Kelly. Apparently, Gene Kelly has hated Stanley Kubrick ever since he used the song in this movie. Another thing Stanley Kubrick is really known for is having the perfect take. Please feel bad for Malcolm McDowell. He really had to suffer for this movie. In the scene where he had, during the experiment, had his eyes open, that took so many takes his cornea was sliced. Another example is in the scene where his ex-droogs, who then become policemen, beat him up and dunk him in water and beat him up. That took so many takes that he almost drowned. Getting into the positives. So a lot of things I love about this movie is the idea of them. I love the idea of the Droogs. I love the idea of criminal mind control run by the government. And I absolutely love the character of Alex, and especially the performance Malcolm McDowell gives. Another amazing thing about this movie is all the shock value. Like, for example, towards the end when he ends up in the elderly man's home who he had previously attacked previously in the movie, just that whole suspense is just amazing. And Stanley Kubrick's style in this movie, particularly the shots and like the dialogue a bit, but mostly the shots and like the visuals, typical Stanley Kubrick, is just amazing. Getting into the negatives. The only negative things I have to say about this movie are the over-the-top violent scenes. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word on YouTube, but if you've seen the movie, you get the gist. And just know that those scenes are there because that has to be there so that later in the movie, when we see that the government's trying to put an end to all this, we know why, because we have to see what terrible things they do. So, yeah. I can remember watching A Clockwork Orange for the first time when I was 13 years old, and I can swear every 15, 20 minutes, I was so shocked, had my jaw to the floor, because something shocking happens every 15-20 minutes.
Well, if it isn't little Alex.
Evidence of the old glasses. Nothing up our sleeve. No magic, little Alex.
Something really unique about this movie is the themes of juvenile violence and government control. So as mentioned, in the experiment, they play Beethoven not knowing that Alex is in love with it. And when they do that, when he is cured, when he hears Beethoven, it makes him feel like he's about to throw up and all that. So it's so bad to the point where he throws himself out a window and is hospitalized. Everything's broken, and everyone blames the government. Everyone blames the government for it. Everyone thinks that the government's such a bad thing for doing this to this poor kid. This movie was a box office success. It managed to make $26 million in the box office until Stanley Kubrick banned it. He took it out of the theater because he received death threats, as in his area, there were a bunch of copycat crimes from the movie. Due to the movie's plot, it has gone on to be one of the most controversial films put to screen. So with that, I give A Clockwork Orange a 10 out of 10 and 5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. Well, that was my look into A Clockwork Orange, one of my favorite movies of all time and my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie. I can understand those who don't really like it due to its sketchy scenes, but I absolutely love this movie and I couldn't recommend it enough. I recently saw this movie in theaters with my mom out of all people, and I was having a great time, but she wasn't having any milk drinking ultra violence talk. Anyways, I'm Scott, and I talk movies.